Hey y'all, it's Santana, aka Tana's Book Diary, and I'm back with another video. Today, I will be talking about one of the most unhinged, insane books I've read this year. I've read quite a few, but this one honestly has taken the cake. And I just wanted to do just a video about it because I was baffled. Today I will be talking about The Scammer by Tiffany D. Jackson. It is a young adult book. It takes place in a fictional HBCU called Fraser University in DC. So it's almost supposed to mimic a Howard University. It's a prestigious college, and we follow Jordan and her 3 roommates. I cannot think of their names off the top. And one of her roommates' brother, Devontae, and we just go on this whirlwind of a story. Now, disclaimer, there will be spoilers in this book. So if you have not read this book yet and you plan to and you don't want to be spoiled, do not watch this. If you haven't read it but don't care about spoilers, continue. But if you have read it, please comment down below, because this book was just as much good as it was bad, but not bad in a written poorly or not a good storyline way, but like bad as in like stressful. Like I was irritated while reading this book, but I couldn't put it down. So first I want to give props to Tiffany D. Jackson. You are like definitely one of my top 5 authors, especially of this year. I've read Grown, Allegedly, The Weight of Blood, Monday's Not Coming, all of that, if not this year, and some of it last year. And your books have just had me hooked. The thriller aspect of it is always a twist, a turn. I never can predict the endings of her books. So I have to give her major props. The person who did the crime was so obvious, and I kind of knew it, but I kept questioning myself. But how it all played out still was kind of a surprise. So again, there will be spoilers ahead. So first we follow Jordan. She's fully Black, but she's definitely whitewashed. She goes to Fraser to connect more with her identity as being a Black woman, also to get away from her parents. She's very smart. She was supposed to go to either Princeton or Yale. I cannot remember which Ivy League it was supposed to be, but like she was destined to go to one of the Ivy League schools, but decided she was going to go to Fraser, which disappointed her parents and a lot of people in her hometown, especially her ex-boyfriend. So we kind of see Jordan as this quiet but super smart girl who meets her roommates, and you initially think it's just going to be this fun, grownish type of book where it's these 4 girls in college. We see the ups and downs, but when I tell you it takes the biggest turn ever in like chapter 2 or 3, I was a little skeptical of Jordan's roommate. What is her name? So it's Jordan, Vanessa, Cammie, and Lauren. They're all freshmen at Fraser, and all of them are from different parts of the US. I believe Vanessa's from LA, Lauren's from New York, Cammie is from like Mississippi or like a small southern state, and Jordan is from like Boston. So they're all from all over, different types of girls, outspoken, quiet, down to earth, fashionable, like all of the things, right? And so I'm excited for this friendship, but Vanessa kept mentioning her brother Devontae, and I was already like, this is so weird, because I mean, I have a sister and I love my sister, but the way she kept talking about her brother, it just was like, girl, we get it, you have a brother, like next caller. But then to top it off, he was in jail, and so then it was like, yeah, I can't wait till he's out, I can't wait till he's out. And before it was even like said, hey, can he stay with us, I was already worried that that's where it was going. Like I was worried Vanessa was going to try to pull a fast one and be like, hey, my brother just needs to stay here for a little bit till he gets his money up or whatever. And I was worried that that was going to happen, and it did. It did, y'all. I wish I did a live reaction to reading this, because Tiffany D. Jackson writes these male antagonists in such a way that makes me want to jump through the book. Like, I want to get in the book, fight them. And it just really irks me. And that's why I was like, I don't know if I could get through it. Like, I kept saying that, and I was reacting to it or like sending messages to my friend Haley, because she was like, let me know when you read this. And when I tell you, it progressively just got worse. But I could not put it down. Devontae ends up being a hotep, which, right? So he's anti basically everything. Anti-establishment, anti-hygiene, anti. Like, he's just anti anything you could think of. Phones, education. First, it was like the standard. Oh, queen, you know, I don't like your weave. You know, you should wear your hair natural. Oh, queen, we don't need to worry about designer bags and anything Gucci, XYZ. We need to support small. We don't need to be giving our money to the man. And then it progressively started to get more and more like insane with what he was anti-phone, anti-education, but you're all about the education and knowledge of your people at a HBCU. And so my thing was like, how are you at this HBCU and you're mad that everyone's getting educated, and you're like, oh, the education that you're getting taught here is not true. And then it was just like, I kept being like, cite your sources, man. Cite your sources. And everybody was just falling for his nonsense. And I was just so confused. And maybe I was also a little insensitive, but I was like, y'all are 18 years old, right? Like, y'all should be able to see a little bit of the BS. Like, I understand maybe not the whole thing, but I was just like, y'all don't see this as a problem? As I'm editing this video, I realized there were some things I forgot. One major thing that I wanted to add was Devontae was anti-medicine. I don't know if I had mentioned that, but it was to the point where he almost could have killed someone. Lauren had diabetes, or she was diabetic, and convinced her that her diabetes was like a man-made thing. And it was created by the food she was eating, and, you know, if she just drank herbs and stopped taking her insulin and, you know, all the things, it would go away. And I felt like that was one of the very extreme measures, other than the SA, that I think happened, and the drugging and the coercion that happened. I feel I definitely didn't touch on this in that video, but there was a lot of that going on that also was stress inducing. And I just was very appalled at how, even when parents were like involved, called, and like, you know, family came in, it really wasn't until Cammie's sister came that I felt like finally somebody with a brain, you know what I mean? Because Jordan's parents, when they got there, it was just like, why are you guys here? You're useless. Lauren's family, when she called and was like, I need $10,000, there was some like backlash, like, what the heck, 10,000? But they were like, let's see what we can do. And I'm like, see what we can do? So I don't know what type of juice, you know, and the Kool-Aid, like, it was the herb tea or whatever he was making, dirt water, that had them just completely throwing out all common sense. And a plug, this just, you know, made me want to also throw out this recommendation of the book Cultish by Amanda Motel. I, again, don't want to come off insensitive. I just don't think I could join a cult, but other people could look at me and say you are in a cult for whatever the case. Because in that book, she refers to, like, if you like, you know, I was about to say a brand that's canceled, but if you like stretch pants and yoga pants and all this stuff, and you live and die by that brand, and you shop every collection, and you follow the brand, and it doesn't matter what they do, you're going to still support. It's kind of a cult mentality. It's a, you know, like, and that, to me, I guess,
feel like I was saying something and I was like, oof. But anyway, I just think he had that he just knew how to hook them in. And whatever he said after that, it didn't matter. He could have said bark like a dog and they probably would have. I mean, he had Cammy on the floor eating off the floor. So if he said jump, they would have said how high. And that's what I was just like, how is this happening with all these people around? And more people were joining this group. But nobody was like, what the heck is going on? I just was more so like, where was the people that had the sense? Like, all of us cannot be susceptible to the cult. You know what I mean? Like, we can't all be like, yeah. You know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway, I just wanted to jump in because I wanted to tell y'all the severity of the situation. Like, this man just didn't like anything. Like, oh, I just don't like. No, this man was just, he wanted to kill them and break them down to where it was nothing left. You know what I mean? And I just didn't like that. But anyway, back to the video.
So I kind of jumped ahead, and I feel like this video is literally just going to be me being scatterbrained a little bit and just rambling about how this book had me so perplexed. Again, first thing was weird was Vanessa kept mentioning her brother, and she would talk about him, and this ended up being my first initial theory, but I didn't really say too much about it because I was like, okay, I'm dragging it. But I said she talks about her brother in, at the time, I thought in this incestuous way almost. Like, it was almost like she had a relationship with him. And I was like, Vanessa, did he harm you? Because we knew Devontae was significantly older than her, or that's what it was told to be as, you know what I mean? So I was just like, is she okay? Is she a victim? So I was kind of scared about that dynamic. And then we found out at the end they were actually in cahoots with each other and they're not siblings. I was like, oh, okay. So that's where I got those like weird off romantic vibes, because they were romantically together. They were just literally scammers. Jumping ahead, like I said. So again, she's talking about her brother. Her brother ends up being released from jail. He comes to their house. He's talking about how he knew Big Sean, YG, Drake, Lil Wayne, Kanye. Like, he's name dropping like it's just no tomorrow. I already knew from jump that was all fake, because what?
You done lost your damn mind. When you get your damn mind, you call me.
Like, I don't believe you. Like, if you said YG, you know, maybe. But then you start talking about, oh yeah, I told Kanye to add an 808 beat to his album, and boom, 808s blew up. And I told XYZ person to add this hook, and it just ended up being a hit. And he said he would do it for this XYZ fee. And so when he would give the girls advice, he was like, I'm giving it to y'all. I'm giving y'all game for free. And I'm just sitting here like, this man is so fake. And I was just like, dang, they really fell for this. And Jordan would constantly be like, I don't think so. And I don't want to say nothing to rock the boat. But I just kept being like, girl, spit some knowledge. Say, like, even just go back and forth with him. Like, I don't think you did that. And when one of them, I don't know who said it, I think it was Lauren, was like, why didn't they bail you out? It was crickets. He had nothing really to say. And that's where I knew, I was like, girl, he's a fraud. He is a FRAUD fraud. Like, how are you sitting here in jail, doing jail over the phone, like, oh yeah, I'm making connections, I'm making big deals. Like, who are you again? Exactly. And so I just knew it was sketch from the beginning. Then Vanessa did the inevitable, like the thing I knew she was going to do, say, can he stay? They said yes for whatever reason. And then that's when I was like, this is about to be a cult. Like, I just knew the way it was going. It's like, this man is in their house. He's telling them, all of these things that they want to hear. Then you're slowly recruiting Cammy, telling her, your man is really he's not doing you any favors. Your family's abusive. You shouldn't talk to your family. You should stop wearing wigs and weaves. You should wear your hair natural. You should eat grass. Like, he was starting with her, and then Lauren, you know, told her to cut the designer bags, call her family for $10,000. It was just crazy. And I was just like, where is the adults? But they were being hooked by him too. And I'm just like, I don't understand. And then we add, what is his name? Not Justin, Nick. Then we add Nick. He is one of the only white people at Fraser University. He's a sophomore. And, you know, he grew up in a predominantly black family, predominantly black area. So going to Fraser was like a no-brainer in his mind. So he goes there and, you know, everybody's like, girl, who is this white man who thinks he can take up space? You know, he's taking a spot, blah, blah, blah. He's not down for the culture. He's just using the culture. And I know what Tiffany was trying to do. This is when the third eye wakes up. I was like, is she trying to have me side with a white man? Is that what's happening? Because sometimes I'd be like, dang it, man, I don't want to be on Nick's side, but he's making points. He's dropping gems. While the black people are literally falling for the conspiracies. And I hate to say it, sometimes, you know, my people, we fall for the conspiracies. And I know, like, that's literally what this whole thing was about. It's like, we are so skeptical that the skepticism then falls into delusional. Like, we then become so, it's warped. Like, what we believe, we question everything beyond a regular questioning. I don't want to eat pork, right? Because I don't know how they cooked this and how they treated the animal before, blah, blah, blah. Fine, right? That's like, you know, reasonable. And you can say, I don't want to eat pork, and that's your prerogative. But then it gets into, I don't want to eat anything because everything is bad for you, because everything is out to get me. And they're putting pesticides specifically in the food the black kids eat because, huh? So I'm going to make myself sick and malnourished for what? And see, that's what Devontae was feeding the girls. Like, he was literally telling them everything is going to kill you. And it just was like, oh my gosh, why are you guys believing this? Like, they stopped attending class. They were dropping weight like it was nothing. They weren't doing they weren't doing their hair, they weren't doing their makeup, they weren't calling their families, they just weren't doing anything except worshiping and tending to his every need. And I was just like, I don't like this. And what made me irritated was, how was everyone else on campus? The frat brothers were denouncing left and right, dropping emails talking about this school is, you know, demonic, and it's actually the white man is controlling us. And I just was like, oh my God, I have family that sounds like this. Like, that's where I was like, I've seen this before. I've heard this before. And I was like, is this played out with me? Like, I'm telling you, I have family that sound just like this, like conspiracy down. Everything is a conspiracy. Everything is, oh, someone's out to get me. And it makes me very concerned that they would be susceptible to Devontae. If Devontae were to come up in here and say the same thing, I think some of my family would be believers. I can't take myself serious, but like, this book, I would recommend you read it, but like, you're going to be doing this a lot. You're gonna be chucking it. And I listened to it on audio and read the physical. Like, I was doing back and forth because I couldn't, like I said, put the book down. I couldn't stop listening. But I also was like, why am I still invested? That is because Tiffany D. Jackson has a true talent of making annoying characters but interesting storylines that makes me want to continue. Like, I was rooting for no one. I think at one point I was like, Jordan, come on. And then we see her big reveal as to why she was even at Fraser. She was, you know, seeking vengeance for her brother who ultimately killed himself because of Vanessa and Devontae's scammer ways. So we find out that this was all her plan. They had a plan. She had a plan. I was just like, and I did have like a theory that they killed her brother. Technically they didn't. They kind of were just like the reason he took his own life, but still I was kind of on the right track, because I was like, why what else would make you want to stay in this situation if you're not trying to do something because of your brother? You know what I mean? Because I would have, deuces, I'm out of here. Like as soon as he told us we can't eat no more, and we got to ask our parents for $10,000, I would have said, okay, let me head to the bank, and never return. What do you mean? So anyway, I don't know what this video is, and I'm sorry if this is a tangent. I just had to get this off my chest. This was a book I thought about well after I read it, and I think I'll be thinking about it even more. I would love if this was to be turned into a TV show. I would like to see how it would look, but I was just like, I need to get this off my chest. So let me know down below if you've read The Scammer by Tiffany D. Jackson, or any Tiffany D. Jackson books. Let me know down below your thoughts on any of those books, or this one specifically. And let's chat. Did any of the characters piss you off as much as Devontae did? I think Devontae was an easy target, but I have to say, the three roommates, once they were fully brainwashed and turned into Devontaeites, I was like, oh yeah, all three of y'all can go. Like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. I don't. No thanks. So yeah, let me know down below your thoughts on this book, and can't wait to see you in the next video.